Alain Mesa, how are you, mate?
I'm doing very well, man. How are you?
Very, very well, brother. How's it all been? I mean, this is crazy. You have come into a series where there's all these established characters, Soap, Ghost, Price, and you really just nailed it, mate. So how tell us how it all came about. I'm really interested.
Yeah, so the audition kind of came in like any other, came from my agents. It was an on-camera audition this is obviously still during the time of COVID. So we had to record that, at home. And my audition was like a long speech. It was just like a one-page monologue. None of the stuff really went into the game. It was just kind of something that the writer had written as if Alejandro was saying this. Definitely gave me an impression of the character for sure. And recorded that and, sent it off into the wind. And eventually I got a call back for it. And the callback was also via Zoom, and that was with the writer, director, some of the heads at IW.
Brian
And
Bloom, one of them.
yeah,
Yep.
Brian Bloom, yeah. And I got to read the scene with them. They asked me to do a few things on the fly, speak a little Spanish, and yeah, man. And
Were you
after
nervous?
that,
Were you nervous at that point, or is this just another day in the life of an actor?
well, I had no idea it was Call of Duty.
Oh,
I had no
okay,
idea
right.
it was as big as like most of the actors that you've interviewed and that have been booked on this. Like, we didn't know it was Call of Duty.
Mm.
I didn't know that until like I started to do the face scans. So it was long after I had booked the role. And not even the first scan, we did like a full body scan, and we also did a face scan. And I think it was on the second scan that like I was told, hey, you're in Call of Duty.
So you're scanning your face, and you don't even know what it's for.
I have no idea. Yeah, I was like, oh,
Man.
okay, that's cool. Let's do it. And
Oh shit! Yeah.
they fed us a lot, not too much information, but yeah, by the time that it was the campaign meeting where they basically told us the story in detail, to the cast, that was when I realized, oh, wait a minute. I had booked. I already knew that I was Call of Duty at that point, but I didn't know it was such a big character. I just thought, oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I booked a supporting role on Call of Duty. That's awesome, and they want to use my likeness for it. Yeah, great. And then I was at that meeting that they were like, no, you're like a big character in this. And I was like, oh man, shit, pressure's on now. Um,
Yeah.
but but after that, it was just all about, hey, let's get to work. Let's work on this script, this story, and that's what I did, man. I just threw myself into it.
Man, I love the intensity you brought into this role. And I think I have seen some footage of you behind the scenes or maybe your audition, and you could just tell you already had it from there. Is that what they loved about you from the start, or is that something you developed along the way?
I like to think I developed it,
Yeah.
because when I came in, I read the specs that they gave us about Alejandro, and I did my thing, and but I didn't have any of the stuff that I like to think I brought into the game by at that point. Definitely didn't have any like accent or any vocal tone or
Mm.
any. I hadn't done any research on this character on Mexican Special Forces or any of the stuff that I researched on. So I think along the way, what I had brought to the table kind of meshed with what Brian and Jeff had worked on, because it's very much their character. I'm just the guy who plays them. But along the lines, yeah, they started to write stuff that I was like, hey, this is we're on the same page now. You know what I mean? Now you guys are writing some stuff based off of what the ideas that I brought in, and which was awesome. And once that started to happen, we all of us kind of figured out, oh, this is Alejandro, and yeah, it was just fun to go in there and put on that suit and do my thing.
Have you watched your stuff back yet? Have you seen all the cutscenes and your performance, or is it
I
hard to
have,
watch back,
yeah.
or what?
It is just because in general, like I'm very critical of my own work.
Mm.
I've been that way since I was like in high school doing plays. And certainly on a world stage like this, I'm just like, oh man, constantly reminded of what I did. So I'm like, okay. But then again, like I'm just going by what the fans say. There seems to be a really big outpouring for this character. They love this game, and that definitely means a lot to me because I wasn't a video game guy. I really didn't play. My brother is, but I don't. I've just wasn't that thing. So when I approached the game, I just thought, man, this writing is so good. And I thought that in the audition too. I mean, I thought that when we did the callback, I'm like, damn, this is like I'm doing something for Narcos. Like what? This is a video game? And
it's like Sicario. Have you seen that movie?
Oh my goodness.
Great movie, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, very, very much. Definitely has that feel to it.
Yeah.
And just like off of the callback and from what we did in the audition, I remember thinking this is such interesting dynamic between the characters, the relationship that they have and given to us in a page and a half of a video game. I was like, what game is this, man? This is crazy. So
and that was the same for the last game as well. Brian Bloom, I believe, wrote that as well. Modern Warfare, the first from 2019. Did you go back and look at that before this game, or did you go in fresh?
I did. So not knowing anything really about Call of Duty or about the Modern Warfare storyline, I definitely did a lot of research on it. I played some of the original games, played 2019.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's funny because I was lucky enough to find a PS5. But the game system that I had before PS5 was PS1.
Bit of a gap, man.
Yeah, I had like the OG, and I didn't play much on it. I played like Crash Bandicoot, and that was about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, learning about the storyline, learning about these characters. I felt like Alejandro would have done his research on the characters of Ghost.
Yeah.
And so he would have known who's helping him out and what he's walking into. So I feel like I had to do that same research too and learn about these characters, learn about what their motives were, at least in the previous storyline. And then just kind of show up ready to go and see what every day brought to me.
Hey, what's the backstory with Valeria or the El Sin Nombre? Because you two got some history here. And
I'm hoping we do have some history. We do have some history. I don't want to go ahead and talk too much about it.
Please.
Just because I know that a lot of the players might be watching this and be like, wait a minute, who the hell are they talking about? So maybe after the launch, I'll talk more about.
All right.
But yeah, there's definitely there's definitely something going on there for sure. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of emotion, a lot of fire within Alejandro.
Yeah, and that character's taken off a bit as well, much like yours. I feel like, again, it's a testament to you guys and the writing where, these established characters, Price, Ghost, and then to be able to come in and hold your own is actually quite a tough thing when you're with, the Task Force 141. A lot of people grew up with these characters. So that's why, I asked everyone, what was your favorite character? And my number one answer was Alejandro.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. It's interesting because there's pressure coming into a role like Soap or Ghost where people are kind of, I think there's more pressure, honestly, because people are pointing their fingers saying, what are they going to do that I don't already like? How are they going to be different than the last person, but different, I mean, like, not as good as what their favorite is, but then also doing a character like Alejandro that is brand new. There's the pressure that people are going to be looking at and be like, can you live up to the standards of somebody, like Team 141?
Yeah.
So I come from a background in theater, so it was a lot like just doing a theater show. And, I was, kind of just wanted to create a character that I would be proud of, I think, as Latin American. And I'm glad that, people think that.
And what was that first day on set like? Was there nerves? Was there, how did you get into the character? What was that like?
Well, it's funny. My first time on set was to do a face test. So they wanted to record me so that they can kind of animate that within IW can animate that to show that to whomever at Activision to kind of get the okay that, yeah, this is the way we're gonna go. I didn't know that was going to be showed to the producers like that. I honestly didn't. I was like, wait a minute, you want me to do what? You want me to act? I knew I had to act that day.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be shown like that. So I showed up, had no research, no nothing, no accent, no voice. I was just like, oh, okay, let me just try and look as badass as I can. And actually that was shown on one of the Intel drops via social media. Yeah. But the first day of filming, believe it or not, we shot the cinematic in the beginning of the game where I meet Ghost and Soap, where they come down onto the tarmac and, we take the drive around Las Almas. All that was done. Great scene. One.
Really?
That was one, man. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Jesus, man.
That whole bit, which was great too for our dynamic because I didn't know Samuel and Neil, so I was kind of coming. They didn't know me at all either, so we were all kind of just trying to feel each other out as people, as actors, as characters.
Yeah,
it was. I don't know if that was done on purpose, but it was definitely it helped us out in the scene, I'd say.
Wow, man, that's great. Another great scene that I love was well, we don't want to get into too much spoilers, but where one of the final scenes where the team is together. That scene I'm talking about.
Was it a cinematic or was it
like cinematic?
An in-game cinematic.
It's a cinematic where all the team, where you sort of reunite. I'm trying. I'm trying not to.
No. Yeah, I got you. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like what I'm trying to say is when you're all together, is there more of a pressure on the scene, or is it easier when there's more people around?
I'd say maybe it's easier when there's other actors around. For that specific scene, I mean, it was very pivotal into the storyline of Modern Warfare, I think. So, just kind of being there we were all there, and we were kind of reminded this is a big scene. So we're like, oh, okay, like we get that, as the pressure isn't really on, it's continuing on us, But yeah, man, I mean, I think just always in general, having other actors there to share the moment with you makes things easier.
So you think it's harder just to do a monologue to the camera? You think that's one of the hardest things as an actor to do rather than a big group scene?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Because you have another actor to play off of, and however they, whatever they do in their performance will help dictate your performance as well. So when you are doing a monologue, people can tune out very, very quickly. You know what I mean? If you're not interesting past the first 10, 15 seconds, people shut it off, So, and sometimes auditioning is really bad like that too, because you have to capture everybody's attention almost immediately,
which seems impossible, man. It sort of seems impossible when there's thousands auditioning as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I know, and looking back at my audition, I'm like, wow, they hired me. It's so weird, but thanks, I guess.
Oh man! So, how proud of you of your work on this one? Is this your most proud moment as an actor thus far? Is it up there? How are you feeling?
Yeah, definitely, man. I'd say it is definitely my most proudest of my work. There's a lot of stuff that I think I could work on. There's never a perfect performance. I mean, you're always looking back, and I think about I think it was Raging Bull or Goodfellas, where Scorsese was in the looking at the final piece and just saying, "Oh, this is all wrong. This has got to change. This and that," and his editor would be like, "Just calm down, Marty. It's good enough." That's Martin Scorsese talking about one of his masterpieces.
Oh man, what a hack, eh? Martin,
yeah, I know.
Needs to improve, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I saw you posted about The Irishman on your Instagram. It was a long movie, but I mean, come on, pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to Goodfellas, Goodfellas is like kind of the reason why I got into acting
Yeah.
as a kid. I saw that movie, man. I saw like a lot of movies I shouldn't have seen at that age, but I was watching it already by 10 years old, and just
Yeah.
learning those the dialogue and just idolizing guys like Robert De Niro.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, when The Irishman came out, I don't get even if it was 5 hours long, I would have loved every second of it.
Same here. Same here,
Yeah,
man. But I had to watch it from home. I felt because of the pandemic, it didn't feel right in a way because I wanted to see it
yeah.
in the theater. But is that your favorite movie of all time, Goodfellas?
I'd say so, man.
Yeah.
Goodfellas, yeah, just because it just has such an impact on me
Mm.
as a kid, and but I mean, I'm a huge movie guy, so there's a lot of movies that I can name you right now. We can have an entire different show just on the
I know,
movies
I
that.
know. I try not to go because I'm the same man. I'm a movie buff. And I try
Yeah.
not to steer the show that way, but we really could. I'm a big Denis Villeneuve fan and Nolan fan. That's
Okay.
I'm sort of on that side. Obviously, Martin, Tarantino, Spielberg. Anyway, we could go on and on. We could go on and on. But is there anything you've watched recently that you want to recommend quickly while we're on this topic?
Um, Recently, man, I'm a classic movie guy, so most of my favorite movies are probably before the year 2000.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say that after the year 2000, probably my favorite movie is Whiplash.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I think going into that movie, I went with a buddy of mine, and we didn't know what to expect. I think it was just we were just kind of wanted to go out to the movies, and we're like, hey, let's see something, and we're like, well, this, out of all the stuff that we were choosing from, I think that was the only rated R one. So we were like, yeah, let's go see it. And it just completely blew us away. I mean, I walked out of that theater, and it will always be a memorable movie theater experience because I didn't know what to expect. I went in there and, especially as an actor struggling, still working so many jobs when that movie came out, I wanted to bleed on my own drum set, if that makes any sense. And
Yeah, it had
I've
it
always
was like a metaphor in a way, wasn't it? Mm.
yeah, definitely. And I've always been that type of actor who believes in training, who believes in really exhausting every effort that you have in the same way that an athlete would, and
Mm.
if they want to be a champion. So yeah, that movie did it for me for sure.
J.K. Simmons, man, what a
Oh my goodness,
performance in that movie.
incredible!
Fuck.
Yeah,
Talk about intensity.
absolutely, man.
Far
Yeah,
out.
that guy's a badass.
Hey, what was the most challenging part of this shoot for you on Modern Warfare? I'm curious to know. Was there a moment where you're like, shit, I don't have a hold on this scene, or this is giving me trouble? Do you remember anything like that? An obstacle overcome?
Um, man, I would say that probably, but the team at Infinity Ward were so good and so helpful about kind of walking us every step of the way.
Mm.
Because I had never done any motion capture. I've done video games, but it's all done behind like a recording booth somewhere, where nobody sees you. So getting in there, I was kind of like, I didn't know what to expect. And so the parts that maybe they felt that I was struggling in, they would kind of immediately swoop in and help me out and say some words that I'm just like, oh, okay, like now I get it. Thanks, guys. It was an incredible experience working on this because of Infinity Ward. I mean, I can't stress that enough. They were incredible. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was just a pleasure from day one up until the last day of shooting.
They're one of the best devs in the world. So you
Yeah.
couldn't have been in better hands, really.
Oh yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah, let's get to some fan questions, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, of course.
Chris Debo, all I want to tell him is he did a fantastic job, and I hope he returns later in the franchise for more.
Thank you, Chris.
Elia Roberts, one question: how was your experience playing a character that speaks your native language? Did you get any inspiration from other Spanish-speaking individuals?
That's a good question. I'm a really big fan of this movie, Blood In, Blood Out.
I
Uh,
don't know if I know it. Blood
oh
in,
my goodness,
bl-
it's an epic film.
blood in, blood out.
Yeah, it's an epic film. It's a prison gang movie, so it has
Ooh,
you know,
yeah.
um, but
1993. Yeah, okay.
yeah, but definitely, just being a fan of that movie, I couldn't help but continue, just to think about it while I was working on it. Not that I was picking up any accents or anything from it, but it definitely, I'd be lying if I said it didn't fuel something within me when working on Alejandro. Um, but yeah, I'd say just that really.
Yeah. What scene in the COD campaign was your most favorite to act in from Paranormal?
Oof.
Tough one.
Going back to the one of the interrogation scenes towards the end, I think you know what I'm talking about. That was my favorite,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also because the actor I was working with, she was incredible. So it was just like it was a pleasure to play with her,
Yeah.
and without saying too much, obviously that was probably my favorite.
How many times did you do that scene? I'm curious. Like, is that a long day, that one? Or is that a couple of takes or
No, there was never really any long days at Infinity Ward. It was great. We'd go in early enough.
Yeah.
We would do COVID testing every time. So the first 45 minutes of the day was just kind of waiting around outside doing the COVID thing. But I'm pretty sure that wasn't the only thing that we filmed that day, and which is, considering that there are a lot of actors in that scene, even though it's just two actors doing most of the talking. Yeah, we got through that pretty quickly.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's also a good thing because you can, I don't know, you don't want to be too tied down, do you? Tom, how does it feel knowing he's managed to become a fan favorite in a game with Price, Soap, and Ghost?
Man, it's still kind of surreal, it's still pretty surreal because I primarily just do voiceover, or at least have the last few years. So when I'm just kind of used to going into a recording booth, dark, it's like a cave in there, and nobody sees me and nobody, you can hear me eventually, but yeah, to have my face kind of thrown around there, and it's incredible. It's amazing, and probably the most rewarding thing is to hear back from all the Latin players. Get a lot of Mexican fans. And they're just, like I said, really happy and proud that of my character, and they feel like they're well represented. And I was just, for lack of better words, doing my job, except I do my job with, as much passion as I can. I leave everything out there on the table, and man, I'm just glad that they think that, because, Ghost is probably my favorite. I'm a fan of Ghost, and damn, Samuel did a great job. So.
Hey, is Samuel that tall in real life? I want to know.
Huge, yes. It's a super tall. I'm 6 feet tall, so I'm just average tall, I guess. But yeah, he definitely is a hulking figure. That's for sure. Yeah.
Oh, man. Hendrik Skulter, how did you get so friggin' jacked? This man is a unit.
This man is well, they made me look like that. I mean,
Oh, come on. Come
yeah,
on.
I got a little something going on there, but yeah, they're the ones that kind of made us look like that.
I think it's 1-to-1. Don't you?
Yeah.
1-to-1 creation. Tell him he did a fantastic job. For sure, his character will be remembered. Will you be available on Warzone 2 or COD Mobile? Serte Hermano. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's ATJ said that one. You probably can't answer that, so that's all right.
Yeah, I can't answer that, but
All
I
good.
mean, if I would love to, let's just say that.
Yep. Who was your favorite of the cast to work with? Oh, come on, guy. That's a tough one. That's from Vesna. Everyone.
Yeah, everybody. It's funny because throughout doing the game, there were moments that each actor had that would kind of have me stepping out of the role and being like, damn, that's really good. you know um Definitely. I mean, definitely, obviously, working with Soap, Ghost, Neil and Samuel definitely brought it big time.
Mm.
And again, the working with that one actor, with the with that scene, it was definitely, it was special, I mean, for sure, because I always want to work with actors that keep me on my toes, and they definitely did.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What was your feeling when you saw the final result of the game? Oh, I haven't asked you. Have you played the game yet, by the way?
So I'm not finished with it. Yeah, but I
Okay.
haven't. I'm a terrible gamer. I suck. Okay, I got to play this on recruit, and even then, I'm dying all the time. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I love it. We had been shown all the scenes already many times in development, but then seeing it on a 4K television just completely changes things. So it was like watching it again for the first time. Also, a lot of the in-game stuff I hadn't seen really. I mean, I recorded it, but I hadn't seen it all put together.
Mm.
But then again, when I'm playing, I kind of just want to beat the game. I want to beat the mission, and I'm so bad at it that it's, especially for a mission like the border mission, it's just me playing with Alejandro, and Alejandro's looking back at me like, what the hell are you doing? And he's yelling at me, and I'm like, dude, shut up. I got this. I'm trying to do it, So it's a lot of fun, man. Yeah, I'm very, very happy that I get to play it for sure.
If you'd be keen, man, I'd love to have you react to that mission while I play, or something like that down the
Oh
line.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you'd be, I
React
think,
to it, yeah,
yeah.
all day
Oh no,
long.
I'll do the heavy lifting, and you just have to show your beautiful face. No, yeah, I think that'd be fun. Another question here from Z4K. How did it feel interacting with Simon Ghost Riley?
Oh, it was awesome. It was great. I mean, again, like doing the research on Modern Warfare, I realized that these characters were pillars of this franchise, and come on, I mean, Ghost is so cool. Obviously, he's my favorite character. So it was definitely great. But at the same time, you kind of throw all that out the window when you're working on the script, because I see I see a warrior, and that's what Alejandro saw in Ghost. Somebody who's skeptical of him, and then it was really all about trying to earn that man's trust, trying to earn their trust, in the same way that I'm trying to earn player one's trust, because they're skeptical about me, and they should be. I mean, it's funny because when the key art came out, everybody thought I was like, okay, this guy's definitely a villain, and I loved every second of it because it plays very much into the narrative of the game. We want player one to think that about Mexican special forces because there's so many corrupt, because of everything that goes on in the game and in the story. It played out very well. So but yeah, working with Ghost was awesome. And remember, he didn't have a mask when we recorded it all. So I'm staring at Samuel's face the whole time, but to hear his voice, which was bigger than life, it definitely made it exciting for me for sure.
And also Barry's voice, he goes right down here, doesn't he? When he,
Yeah, he did a great impression of him, man. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Yeah, no, Barry's incredible, man. I mean, there's a reason why he's been working for such a long time, because he's definitely an incredible actor. So it was a pleasure to work with him as well. I wish we had.
You didn't have many scenes, did you? I'm trying to remember.
Not too many.
Yeah.
Not too many. Yeah, the ones that we did were pretty special, and certainly watching his performance in 2019, he was incredible, and watching the stuff that he did when I wasn't there at work on this game is it's a pleasure to watch.
So tell me about the back and forth between you and Jeff Negus, I believe his name is, the narrative director. How does that relationship work between you two, and also the relationship between you and Brian Bloom, the writer? How are they different as well? I'd like to know.
Man, I kind of saw them as like one unit almost.
Okay.
They are the they created Alejandro. they created this world for us, so they were kind of like mom and dad every time that I was like, hey, am I doing this right? Is this okay? It was funny because the first time that I walked in there to do the role, I had done all this research, and I came ready to work that first day, but then I started to do my thing, and I started to talk like Alejandro and do that voice, and they didn't stop me. And I was just like, okay, like, can I keep going? Is it okay if I'm doing this? And they're like, yeah, we like what you're doing. Keep doing it. So it was just like it gave me so much freedom to do what I wanted, within reason, of course. But definitely, like, again, we all kind of met somewhere in the middle with this character and the story, and it was just all about bringing out the most dynamic scenes and relationships. It was all about relationships, and character story, as Brian says. So I'm just glad that we all kind of came together and created something memorable.
Do you mind if I hear the voice? Because I'm listening to you now. I'm hearing a little bit of it, but it's not your natural voice.
It's not the natural voice, no. Alejandro sounds, yeah. Alejandro's voice is back in the throat. It sounds somewhat scarred, and I kind of wanted it to sound scarred. I wanted it to sound like, okay, this guy's been through something. And it's interesting because Alejandro, to me, doesn't talk like anybody else around him. He doesn't talk or act like he's of this time, and that's what I, really wanted to do, was to kind of give this guy a sound that, like, hey, wait a minute, what century are you from? You know what I mean? Because my little secret that I love to play the most in this character was that I kind of saw him as like the spirit of an Aztec warrior. And I thought to myself, well, if I was an Aztec warrior, like, how would I be fighting? What would I be doing? And that kind of made him almost superhuman for me, because then it was like, wait, this guy's been around for centuries and centuries, fighting wars, and winning battles. And he's always going to be doing it, and it gave me the idea that, like, hey, if you killed Alejandro, like, you still better run. It's not over for you yet. Like, you still should be worried,
Man, just speaking to you now, you're so different to the character. So again, kudos to you, man. I mean, I don't know how you found that voice. I guess you just, as you said, you went back in the back of the throat, and it came to you. But
a little bit, yeah, but it was also fine tweaking it, I guess, because at first I was like, wow, that sounds kind of like what I want. But then it was also about, how do I get back into that voice over and over and over again? And then eventually I found it, and I just kind of was able to tap into it whenever I needed.
Man, and have you got the performance capture bug now, man? I'm guessing, because I know you've done a lot of voiceover work for games, but now that you've dipped your toe into this, I mean, you can't help but want to do more, right?
Yeah, well, I definitely do. I mean, when I first got into voiceover, I moved to Los Angeles from Miami in 2010. And, I knew from the very beginning that I wanted to do video games. I wanted to do some sort of motion capture roles. I just wasn't given the opportunity until this, what an opportunity, obviously. And so now that I've done that, I definitely do want to continue more, but I also want to, I want to get back to, to do TV and film,
Yeah.
I mean, I've just been doing voiceover for years. And it's just funny that the one thing that, pushes me forward is this game, this franchise, and a role that looks exactly like me. There's no way around it. Like, it's me. So definitely, yeah. I mean, but I definitely would love to do it more. It's so fun, man, because given like a toy gun, there's no sets, there's no costumes, there's no nothing. It's as it's at the core of what an actor really does. It's just kind of playing pretend professionally, and we stopped playing it as kids, but when especially in something like mocap, where they're giving you a fake gun, there are no costumes, you don't have anything else to rely on except your imagination. it's very freeing,
Mm.
and it allows you to just creatively bring a lot to the table that you may not, and what if you're limited on a real film or movie set.
I can't imagine the fun that you had on this one, man. Unbelievable. Hey, what about a Call of Duty movie? What do you think? Because you guys are, I mean, it pretty much is a movie in many respects, but
Yeah.
what about that? Would you be down?
Oh my goodness, yeah, I'd be so I'd be so
Nah,
down.
you might be busy.
Cast me. I don't know. I mean, they would definitely need some star power, I think.
Who would you bring
But
in? Who would you bring in for the star power?
oh man, I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm biased, so I would just want to. I
Robert
would
De
want to
Niro.
same team, man. Show the world, hey, we can do it better.
Oh, okay, yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah. I was going to say Robert De Niro as a villain, but he
Oh
might be,
yeah.
he might be getting on. I don't know. I think he could pull it
Yeah.
off.
I don't know. Yeah, that would be great though. That'd be great.
Could Alejandro take down a Juggernaut? That's a question here from a fan. What do you think?
Alejandro could take down anybody, man. There's no Alejandro would take down anybody with a pencil. He doesn't need a weapon either. Um,
Where did you guys get the inspiration for Los Varcos? Is
so
that
for the
did I say that right?
I think you mean Los Vaqueros.
Vaqueros, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be a question that you'd have to ask Brian Bloom. He's the one who wrote it. And definitely Jeff had his say in it. So they would be the ones the best fit to answer that. But I love that they wrote it. I love that those Vaqueros are it's just a pack of wild soldiers, pack of warriors. Which I kind of saw it was almost like they're a pack of wolves, I kind of see Alejandro like a lone wolf who is the one leading the pack, if that makes any sense. Even though I know he's the leader of the Vaqueros, I think if he had to go off on his own without anybody, he would do just as well as Ghost. And he understands that this war in Las Almas is a never-ending war. You may win every battle, but it's just never going to end. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to step up and be the leader of the Vaqueros and kind of keep things at bay. And that's why he, even as a lone wolf, he says, well, I'll do it,
Wow. Great answer, man. I also wanted to know, was there anything that surprised you about doing this? Because as you said, you've done a lot of voice acting and acting, but not motion capture. Was there anything that you're like, oh, wow, it's done like this? Or, oh, that's that way?
Man, I remember one day I had to just, it was during the border mission, and we were just, all I had to do was be an idol, all I had to do. But I was terrible at it. I was so bad. I was just like, it looked like Mortal Kombat in the 90s waiting. So they didn't stop the take, they let me go. And I remember Jeff saying, yeah, dude, you don't have to do that, you could just be a lot more realistic, this and that. Cause I didn't know how realistic this game was, going to look. Which made me look like a fool. Afterwards, I was like, dude, you should have just stopped me and said, you look like Mortal Kombat or some shit, stop it. So it was just surprising how realistic it was, how much they would get, and the attention to detail. I can say that we really, really paid a lot of attention to the smallest things that we wanted to make right, and I give it up to the guys at IW. I give it up to Brian and Jeff, because they really wanted to get it as close to reality as possible in every sense of the word. So.
Do you feel like you know a lot more about it now that you've had this experience? Because you said before it's been a while since, you had a PS1 and
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's playing this game, playing it now. It's awesome. I'm surprised that I'm able to get anywhere near where I am right now in the game. And yeah, I mean, it definitely it's helped reignite or ignite for the first time a love of gaming. So yeah, I want to play other things. I've always been a GTA guy, so I love Grand Theft Auto. But I was always playing my brother's, game consoles and whatever they had. Um, but yeah, now that I mean, I got a PS5 now, so I should probably buy some games for sure. And
Well, people
yeah,
keep mentioning to me as well that he looked a little bit like Trevor from GTA 5. Have you heard
from
that?
GTA,
Have you
yeah,
heard that? Yeah. I
I
didn't. I
have,
didn't see
yeah.
it. I didn't see it, but a lot of people were commenting, so I guess someone does.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see it either, but hey, whatever. It's all good.
Is there anything you wanted to say to the fans, man, that have tuned in today or around the world about this experience, or is there anything you wanted to say?
Just thanks for playing. Thanks. I mean, I feel so welcomed, really.
Mm.
I feel I'm super humble. I mean, it's a blessing that I thank God for every day to be in this game, to be part of this franchise, and just to have met, incredible artists that I was able to collaborate with. My fellow actors were incredible. So thank you for playing. Thank you to all of the Latino fans and players who've reached out and said, well, we're really happy to have you. Thanks for representing us. I mean, that's a huge win in my book when I have them saying, hey, thanks, for giving us the hero that this franchise needed for them specifically,
That
Um,
that's amazing. Yeah.
huge. That's a huge win. That's probably my favorite thing that I've from all the fans that I've heard back from.
That's amazing, man. You'll notice, guys, the lighting's gotten darker because here in Melbourne it's pouring rain at the moment. So it's just got dark. It's only in the morning too. Funnily enough,
You were
it
setting
looks
the
like
mood a little bit more. Yeah, I was like, all right, it's the night chat now. Okay.
a couple more questions before I let you go.
Yeah.
Any emotional moments for you on the set or after or that last day on set? What was that like? Do you remember any emotions coming out of you, or was it pretty? You were in check for most of it.
No, I mean, I tried to remain in check
Mm.
the whole time. Again, like it was I just threw myself into the work. I wanted the story and I wanted
Mm.
the relationship between the characters to stand out, and that was what was, again, like I come from theater, so I really was just looking at it as, hey, this is a job, but it's, let's make the best of this story. Let's bring it to life as much as we can. Um, Towards the end, I guess you could say that it was coming to a close. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I was sad about that, just because I wasn't going to be working on a day to day with
Mm.
IW with all these guys. It was going to be, it was going to be goodbye for a little bit. But this has been the gift that has kept giving, man. I'm not going to lie. It's I feel like we all kind of hit a home run that hasn't quite like hit the ground yet.
It's not even
Uh,
out. Let's just remember that it's
yeah,
come.
yeah. So what's crazy is that it's not out, and this just the response has been through the roof, especially from what I like the most is that I think hardcore fans that were
Mm.
really wanted like an OG modern warfare like the old ones. They kind of got that. They got like a newer version of something that they are so familiar with.
Mm.
And it's just really special to be part of that, man, for sure. I mean, like I said, the gift that keeps giving, we ended up doing a Hummer commercial that
Oh
was,
man, we didn't talk about that. That's
and it's just like,
ah.
it's just, I don't even know what's next, but I don't think it's quite over yet. So
Yeah, and you did it with all those different creators and influencers, right? There was a few that came in. Is that the one you're talking about, or another one?
yeah, we did something with them, but the Hummer commercial was just I think it was just
Just you
uh,
guys. Yeah.
Ghost and Alejandro, who were
Oh,
the two
okay.
characters. Yeah. But funny enough, because you mentioned Chris Nolan earlier, the DP on that was Christopher Nolan's DP. I forgot his name, but he's the guy who DP'd the last couple of his movies. So, and the
Hoyte van
director,
Hoytema.
exactly, yeah, he
No
was the
way,
DP
really?
on the
Jesus.
Hummer commercial, yeah,
What
and the
the
director
hell?
was
Far out.
the same director as Maverick.
Joseph,
So
yeah.
no,
Shit.
they brought in, yeah, they brought out the red carpet for that one for sure. Ghost and I, we were just like, we felt like extras because they were the real star power there for sure.
Shit, they spent some money on that one. Fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
No, no wonder it was so good. No, amazing. No, it's been a pleasure to have you on, man. Is there
Pleasure.
any advice you would give to any upcoming actors or anyone in a creative field?
Man, just exhaust every one of your efforts if it's something you're passionate about. Um, I'd like to think like that actors are, Pacino says we're emotional athletes. And I take that, to heart because I think that like an athlete, you have to train, you got to work hard, you got to practice, you have to just do that in any endeavor in life if you want to be a champion in that endeavor.
Mm.
And in this industry to be an actor, usually it's the ones who do that end up working. So yeah, man.
So resilience is a key pillar, you think, in the.
Oh my goodness,
Mm.
yeah, you have to have a thick skin, that's for sure, man. I'm pretty sure any of the actors will tell you that yeah, you definitely have a thick skin for this for sure.
No, thank you so much, man, for coming
Thank
on
you, man.
today. We really appreciate everyone watching. Where can we find you, man? Instagram and Twitter are the two.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
definitely on Instagram.
Okay. Yep.
You just have to type in my name for sure and you'll see it. And then as well, Twitter. I just got on Twitter. I'm so
Yeah.
confused by it, trying to do the twit thing. But you can find me on there for sure as well and add me.
Beautiful, man. Look, it's a pleasure to have you. Hopefully, we can maybe do that react down the line.
Oh yeah, definitely,
That
man.
sounds fun. But before I let you go, man, is there anything Alejandro can say to Dan as we close this one out?
Say to Dan,
Yeah, what would he say to Dan? What would he say to me?
keep doing what you're doing, and everything you do, you got to do it weapons hard, vaquero. So you got to go in there, guns blazing, man, and you can ride with Alejandro any day for sure.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great day, brother.
Oh, no problem, brother. You too.
Take care, man.